Welcome travelers from the winding trails, grab a spot by the hearth and a pint of ale. A brief respite from our noble quest, lean back in a chair for the song of rest.
Aw, thanks, Timothy. Yay!
Oh, what a wonderful rendition.
Thank you, you're far too kind. Hello travelers and welcome to the Song of Rest, a place where our heroes and the deities that guide them gather to share a behind-the-scenes and behind-the-screens look at the unfolding adventures in Archipeldia. Gathered before us is the Dungeon Master, Aaron Rollins, and his band of players, Dustin Bleschmidt, Janelle Wilkie, and Chad Stafford. But I'll let them do the talking, and I'll get back to playing. The Cerberus is still bleeding on the floor, so pay no mind. I'm sure the one-eyed creature in the back will get to it momentarily.
Yeah. I can't do it. I can't.
Clean. Very nice.
There's so much jowl to it. I can't.
Make mess.
It's just straight up boss Nass from episode 1.
Do you like do the like a finger thing like or like...
No, I do the I do the head shake and the I've got sizable cheeks that flap in the wind when I do that. It's like yeah. So anyway,
Aaron's the true dog folk.
Yeah, right.
Sticks his head out the window.
Oh my god!
Just sticks his head out of the story arc. He's got the one window in the story arc.
You know what? I'm sure he does.
The one window that you'll never find.
The only one who can see outside knows what the hell we're getting into.
So, Aaron, first of all, I think the biggest question is, was it intended that you were going to kill off each of the NPCs we were fighting in order to not just completely destroy us outright? Or was that part of the narrative, or did you just kind of decide on...
So I'll give enough of a peek behind the screen because I thought this episode would be fun to kind of showcase just some relaxed heroism, I guess, and kind of make fun of typical adventures and where they always begin with killing the rats for the inn or the bar or whatever. But always I thought it would be funny. It would be so funny to have it seem like it's just a rat problem. But then it's a fiery snake. Then it's a rift to a different hell dimension, and the Cerberus. And it's like things are progressively getting worse. So and I want to say that the inspiration for that was I don't know if you guys ever played the game Bard's Tale forever ago.
No, I heard about it.
They make fun of it. They do exactly the same thing where it's like, hey, you're an adventurer. You should go take care of this rat problem. And you go down there and the rats are like the size of velociraptors. And you're like, this isn't a rat problem. It's like...
I love that. I love that, it's like I was kind of jabbing you like you got a rat problem for us. And then you're like, yes, bitch, I have a rat problem, but also got a snake problem and a Cerberus problem. You didn't expect that, did you?
So did they keep killing the next thing just so that we weren't getting
Oh, no, that was absolutely going to be part of it, too.
Oh, gotcha.
What was convenient was that you guys were whooping them so hard that, they literally had, one hit left. I think... So you guys were one-shotting the rats, which is not a problem, but then you messed up that snake so bad that it literally would have taken one more hit. So the Cerberus just got to do the finishing kill as it came out of its
What a kill-stealing fuck.
Yeah, he just came in. He came in with the chair out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's right. All that experience. Just
what is Dustin? What is it called when it's like? God, I should know this. Working on a WWE title, but it's been years. So what is it called when they all go in the ring at the same time and more people come out?
Oh, the Royal Rumble.
The Royal Rumble, thank
yeah.
you. It was just like that where like this one
Yeah.
dude was doing all the work and then a guy just jumps in and ganks the kill from him at the last second.
Aaron, I'm curious if you had any more beasts lined up after the Cerberus.
That was my follow-up question is
I
if
didn't
were
even think
more
about
things
that.
going to keep coming out if we didn't close it.
I guess we'll never know if
That's rude.
anything else was going to come out of that fiery hellscape.
A
of
three-headed
rift.
Cerberus.
Next to Red Dragon, or something crazy. It's like, this is getting worse. But
It's a half-headed Hydra comes out, completely shatters the whole floor. No one helps.
I
No
gotta
one
say,
helps.
you guys. I know Sherman took some hits, but that's what
Yeah,
he does.
yeah.
He's a
I
tank.
got
that's-
something to say about
That's what
that.
that's what he's there for, right? Because the first attack did 10 damage, and like that would have been half our flower krauts or
Yeah.
my health right then and there.
Oh, yeah.
So and this is not a bone by any means to
Because
pick,
Sherman would have taken it by now.
'cause- yeah, he sure would have. But of all the days for me to get a super cool new ability where I can have somebody else get hit and deal the damage back, but not if it's myself, and then it's like, hey, we're not gonna crit on Timothy because he'd die. We're not gonna crit on Flower Crow because she'd die. We're gonna crit on Sherman, and Sherman's gonna take it like a champ. I
Flogged
can't.
like a dog.
I can't. I was flogged like a dog. You're right.
that ability you really should look at as, I hope I never have to use it because I want these things to be attacking me and not my friends. So,
That's fair, yeah. But like just the ability to almost have like the you blew up Krillin and now I'm gonna go Super Saiyan kind of thing.
Right. The snake, man, between the dissonant whispers and
New favorite
the
spell ever.
Oh, I
And
love
the-
it.
So cool.
and that smite where you just wrecked it.
Oh, first smite
I
of
thought-
the campaign.
I thought you guys were gonna have more trouble with it because that thing, because of its scales, it has resistance to piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning damage.
Oh.
So like, just simply by doing magic damage to it, you guys just kicked the crap out of it. Didn't stand a chance.
So that means it's a good thing that the Cerberus took it out, because when I realized the sword wasn't doing enough damage, I was going to punch it, and that would have done not much.
That's true. Yeah, because I just told you that is one thing I know we made a joke of it during the session with Flowerkraut's Hex,
Mhm.
but for player meta knowledge, I like to at least inform them when they do an attack, if the attack was resisted or if it was vulnerable or whatever. So I know, Flowerkraut had no idea shooting blindly an Elderly Blast with a hex attached to it, or extra hex damage, that the Cerberus was immune to the necrotic damage. It took the force damage, but it didn't take any damage from the hex. So, like, when Sherman slashed at the snake, I let you know that it was resistant to slashing damage, but you didn't quite know that it was also resistant to piercing and bludgeoning, but because no one had hit it with one of those attacks quite yet. So
I like that though. It's kind of like actively analyzing your opponent while you're in the middle of it. So that's cool. That's what makes it have strategy.
Right, trial and error. Try something. If it doesn't seem to be doing much, you switch tactics.
Oh yeah.
Can I just say how much I love Dustin using Kitty Purry on the fly, and then Chad took it and ran with it in his finishing blow?
You knew more of the song than I did, and when I joined in, I forgot half of what I had already said. So that's why
what I said
started
was
howling.
literally all I knew. So if there's other parts to that song, they certainly weren't in my head, but I had to keep it was one of those things where I turned my mic off and I was like humming it because I'm like, what are the lyrics? And then it finally popped in my brain hole, and I was like, okay, I've got enough to where this could be part of the dissonant whispers. Because as soon as we all just kind of ganged up on him. I'm like, okay, if this doesn't finish him off, I don't know what. It'd have to be like another smite that would do it. So
I don't want to live in this world anymore.
this could be fun.
Oh, it was so fun.
It
Perfect.
was absolutely. And Kitty Purry, that's
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes, right on the fly, Dustin.
I did not catch on to the reference until until Timothy started singing it. Then I was like, oh,
Oh yeah. You mean you don't know Kitty Purry from the Glamour College?
hey,
This
right?
is totally from the Glamour College.
Oh, that was good. I also like to, or I was aiming to kind of give you guys the sense that the story arc really is kind of like just the epitome of heroics, adventure, tales, epics, and it's all kind of like condensed into this boat, and everyone on the boat is, in one way engaged in those kind of adventures, stories. Like, obviously, this won't be the only time you guys will see it. I think you guys have already got a clue about that. But I wanted the intro of the story arc to be kind of, I don't know, have a little bit more impact on you guys rather than you just sitting down and having a couple of
Right.
drinks.
And it was
Oh, yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
like we needed to earn our keep. We needed to pay for our passage.
Process
And our drinks.
And our
emotional
drinks.
traumas.
Yeah.
All those honest teas.
Eat some cheesecloth and steal some coin.
I love that
Oh,
Sherman
delicious.
was eating some of the disgusting food. Sherman and Flowerkraut are both gross, and Timothy's just along for the ride, getting the shinies. He's like, I like the finer things, and these two are nasty.
just like a dog to be like, I don't know what this is, but this
Goes
I'm
in the
about.
mouth.
Love it how he's trying to fight it, but he just can't. He's just like, I just gotta taste it.
He's trying to hide it too, just like a dog would, like sneakily take a little
Yeah,
bite.
because I know I'm not supposed to do that, but it just I'm weak.
Oh man.
Yeah,
You're a dog folk. You just got to do it.
Yeah, totally. I would like to shine a light on the Cinder Wow Wow moment.
That
And
was fun.
I didn't know how that was gonna go. For a second, I thought like it was a trick, and Flower was gonna get like diseased, or it was acid
Oh,
or
man.
something.
So I mean, this will come up in the next adventure. But Rizzy likes to call all of the drinks and the things that that the bar has to offer by the nicknames that the patrons tend to give them. People call that drink the Cinder Ow Wow, but it's actually the Cinder Ayla.
Oh,
But the thing is every time someone drinks it, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is ow, 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 ow.
That's so clever. I love it.
oh, that's great.
And there is something else that I totally, well, you know what? I'll save that for episode 4. That has to do with that drink in specific.
Well, I'm certain this won't be the last time we're patrons of the story arc, and we'll have to do a flight next time.
Yes.
Oh heck yeah!
Man,
It's like what's
yes.
give me
All
a
right.
flight of your best selection.
Get your Constitution dice ready to roll, guys. Here we go.
Oh, Flowerkraut's all about it.
Oh yeah.
That's a fun gamble. Maybe it's you either get a bonus or you get a hindrance for the next adventure.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. That's a high risk, high reward kind of thing. I like that. I like that.
A little
Until
shot
I
roulette.
don't.
The other thing I want Flowerkraut to keep in mind is that being who she is, you dabble in creating things, whether on an alchemical level or just as salves, potions, mixtures, and stuff like that. So, there may be something that you come across either on the story arc or, through your adventures that Flower may want to try to duplicate or replicate. herself.
Ooh.
So that's kind of one of the, I guess, skills that she's got. You do have that ability to create, your dead fish salve that is basically a healing potion right now. But
I've got it. I've come up with a new recipe.
so that's something you can definitely add upon. But it's going to be kind of up to you as to what you want to research and create next.
Yes, that sounds great. I actually got a little bit distracted because I was like, ooh, I wonder if I can make a disgusting, disease potion or something from the rat flesh. But then as soon as it got eaten up by the snake, I'm like, oh, crap. And totally forgot all about that.
Well, I think there's still one rat that's in mostly one piece because Sherman just put his sword through it. But the first one exploded in an elderly blast.
Yes.
And the
An
second one went
aerosol
down
mist of rat.
Yes.
I don't know. You could just kind of filter the ale and get essence of rat. I suppose. Gross.
Yeah. Well, it's also a good thing that I think Sherman was the only one to take damage from the rats because I think, if I remember correctly, they were plagued rats. And Sherman, you're a paladin, so you're immune to that disease.
I am just now newly unable to be diseased, which is convenient.
Yes.
Convenient.
Definitely convenient. Now, I have a question about the Cerberus and the dead rat that was left, because this is something that crossed my mind. Had the rift not closed, do you think I could have been able to coax the Cerberus back into the rift by taunting it with the dead rat and throwing it through the rift? Because that was my next play until the rift closed, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna figure this out, and then we all know what happened next.
And then a meteor to the wall.
Many different methods you guys could have used to approach the situation. I thought what Flower did was kind of ingenious.
Oh, heck yeah.
But absolutely, there's many ways you guys could have figured out solved this problem up in the storage room. So I like your creativity. That would have been a really interesting way to go about it.
That would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and try to use diplomacy. How about you eat shit?
I love your shitty little characters and their shitty little voices. They're so awesome.
Because I think all of us had a little bit of apprehension to do anything mean to these rats, but then you just made them so vile and rude that just went out the window.
Yeah, there's always that when it comes to just animals, and you're like, yeah, but two of us are animals. Is this okay?
Yeah,
it's fine. It's totally fine.
Maybe you were just stepping on their territory or something. They staked claim of that storage room, and they were, I guess rats would probably get pissy if a dog was sniffing around in their area. And there's enough rats to take it on.
Oh, especially when they're of that size, for sure.
Right.
Oh yeah, an ROUS.
Yeah.
Like that Princess Bride reference.
Definitely not a half rat, half mouse.
Mouse.
Yeah, you guys didn't
a little rouse.
Didn't leave the rats alive long enough to see that they actually could somewhat breathe fire.
Oh.
Well, that's good.
The fire
swamp. I feel like we got enough fire.
Yeah. Aaron, I wanted to thank you also for kind of incorporating Flower's leveling up in her communication with the patron, in her processing her feelings about losing her home. Just as my first time role playing, I thought that was very valuable, and I really appreciated you kind of going into that with me. That was cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think it's really cool that you took that aspect of Flowerkraut and played it out, because it could very easily just been like, oh, it was just my cave, who cares, it's in the past. But then you think about, well, she did live there for a long time. That was home, and in a moment it was gone.
She used to be something of a nomad, I think, before she finally found the cave on the island. And, you know, must have been naive to think that the island would outlast her, but she's yeah, the patron. I love how beautifully you painted that picture with the smells, with the smell of her first home and then the smell of her next home in the sea and then nothing. Like that illustrated it so beautifully. I felt real emotion in my chest. I'm like, wow, I can feel what this character might be feeling.
Oh yeah, there is definitely a lot of emotionally charged moments. Like when you guys were going through that, I closed my eyes and I was like, I'd just be in this moment, you know, and try to experience it as you guys were going through it. And it was just a really endearing, emotional, not roller coaster, but you know, it definitely took me for that ride too.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, like I feel that it's a really transformative moment for Flower because a lot of her past is kind of getting enveloped into her current situation, you know. Just taking these powers that she was given by her patron and putting them to use because you know, she became a warlock. She has this patron. But what has she done ever since that day? She's, you know, haunted a beach and, you know, hung out with all the beach babes and everything like that. And, you know, now she's taking this new power that she's been given and, you know, striking out with it and putting it to use. And so it's, you know, it's kind of like almost kicking Flowerkraut in the butt, you know, like,
yeah,
go out there. You know, you can make a home wherever. Just go get out there and discover the world and help people or whatever the message she takes from it is.
There's more you could be doing with your life than just this. Like, you know, I called on the patron and then haven't used it since. Like, or, you know, used it very little. And it's like, hey, you still got more adventures left. And I liked the use of smell because I know this resonates for me personally, but I think also just psychology says that smell can be one of the strongest memory triggers out there. And I know for me that rings so true. Like a certain smell can take me back to such a specific time that I would have never ever thought I had filed away in my head. And I love that you used that for Flowercry. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. Like I'm thinking for myself, you know, certain smells that remind me of people or like when you smell something and you're like, oh my God, that smells like high school. What the fuck? You know, it's like, definitely could trigger memories. So, and I liked the idea too, because it kind of gives off that witch feel, you know, that witch's brew. You know, she's double trouble boiling bubble, you know, and getting a little waft of what she's mixing up, and yeah.
Oh yeah, and I mean, just with Flowerkraut's, I mean, think of Flowerkraut's name. You have the warm, inviting aroma of the flower, and then the fermented cabbage. It's like you gotta. There's value to both, and so the whole theme of using the scents and different smells, it's just super dope, and I also think it fits the character really well. What I thought, Chad, that you did with Timothy that had me cracking up over here, was everything you were doing trying to deal with. Well, one, how to be brave, and two, just the whole setup with the coin purse and how Timothy reacted to the money was absolutely hilarious to me.
I loved it. I love that Sherman kind of played off that, and Timothy was just hilarious with it, especially when saying, like, I don't know where that is. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was fun. I know that Dustin was helping me out with choosing a bard college because there's a lot to choose from, and all of them had fun bits that they could do. But I think with Sherman as a character being a part of this crew and just showing nothing but bravery, even in the face of potential defeat, I think is like the thing that Timothy as a character needed, because he's been, as a Kenku, a lot of them are just like little sneaky, probably not ones to go into combat. They would try to find ways to get around it or just not be involved at all and take advantage of that situation and probably steal something in the background. But he has this exemplary paladin to look to and be like, oh, maybe there's a better path. Maybe there's a way we can use these skills to help others. And so there was two that I was looking at. There was the College of Creation, and then there was the College of Valor. And Dustin certainly helped point me in the direction of Valor.
What kind of stuff does the College of Creation give you?
The one thing that I enjoyed about the College of Creation was that you could apply different abilities to the bardic inspiration. So there was different types of buffs that you could apply, which seemed kind of fun. And then the only other thing that was like to call out was that you could create non-magical objects, but also I think magical objects, and maybe even use one to almost like Fantasia level, like with the broomsticks dancing. You could do something Sorcerer Mickey style, which was which seemed very cool, and that was the hard part to say no to. But I don't know, just having more abilities to buff my friends with just seemed like the better option.
I think the College of Valor is amazing. Like what the additional options everyone gets for their bardic inspiration is great. And you had me dying right before you guys went into the storage room, and the way the way that Timothy was like, oh, and there's nothing inside there, right? There's nothing dangerous.
Yes, I instantly wanted to draw that moment.
Yeah.
I wanted to draw Flowerkraut and Sherman in the background looking at the door, and just Timothy in the foreground turned away from them with like a hand to his face and his eyes huge, just like
like that's that inner crow coming out right then, just like that.
Also, I love you guys calling me out and everyone in the fucking tavern on anyone that seemingly is asking a question.
Oh yeah.
Especially like when the hole opened up and people will go, that's a question.
Oh man, I had forgotten about that. But yes, is a question.
Yeah.
the crises of questions.
People are like, what is that smell? What is it? Why are people asking so many questions? You're asking a question over there. It was so good.
I love it.
Well, there's a value to rules. We're in someone else's place, and Sherman definitely feels like the rules need to be respected.
I love that it's taken to that extreme, that it applies to just people talking to each other. Oh, so great.
Or just being curious of what's happening above them as the floor is breaking apart.
Even though the barkeep totally was in on it with his little smirky nose
tap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were probably all watching it on the sports bar TVs that place probably already has.
That's an interesting thing about the party is that you guys literally have still just barely met each other and don't really know much about what you're each capable of.
Yeah.
Now, when it's sometimes kind of difficult because we go back and we think about the proto episodes we did where Timothy Sherman and Flowerkraut knew each other very well already in them. And I think you guys are doing a great job of kind of like keeping yourselves in check, that you don't yet have that same relationship level, don't know as much about what each other is capable of, or even who you each are, you know? Like, you've barely touched on your pasts with each other. You just kind of explained your situation. You are stuck with each other and you're moving forward, but there's a lot of potential for dialogue, for narrative that, you know, is still there for you guys to discover more about each other.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Janelle, you actually set me up for some development as well without even really, I don't know if you realized it, but Janelle had come to me a couple of days before we recorded and said, hey, just to warn you, not warn you, but like collaborate a little bit. Flower Crowd is feeling a little upset, so I might lean into that a little bit just so you have an idea of what might happen. And I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah, Flower Crowd couldn't really relate to some of the emotions I think that was going through Sherman in episode 2, where you know, she had just lost her home, and then the prophetess had come to them and kind of like told them to go on that they were going to do something on her behalf, something great. And Sherman was so honored, and then of course had to tie in the fact that he rolled a 1 on friendship. I know that was mostly a joke, but still, like, I feel like maybe out of everybody, Flower Crowd might be a little bit short with Sherman. And by the way, I loved like Sherman's uncertainty in talking with Flower Crow and just like the "I love you" and he leaves.
That was really good.
Funny.
That was
Well,
so
such a dog
funny.
thing.
That's a dog.
I love you.
That's such a dog thing. Like, I'm sitting on the floor staring at you eating your burrito because I love you, not because I want to eat your burrito. I just love you.
Not at all.
I also love that you love this burrito.
But yeah, you guys kind of picking your colleges based on like the new bonds that you're creating was so cool.
I think just the way that all of those were incorporated, Flower Krauts being my personal favorite for, you know, the reasons that were listed prior. And speaking of like remembering smells, like Aaron, I'm pretty sure you've had these before with those magic candles, and like how powerful is smell that they can literally make like a candle that smells like the water from Pirates of the Caribbean. You're like, that smells like Pirates. I'm on the ride. Like, smell is such a huge part of it that a lot of those places like incorporate a really strong smell because that is such a memory trigger. So I was having a trip just listening to that whole Flower Kraut section. And that was my personal favorite, but I really like that all of us, it wasn't just a level up, it was a narrative beat, which is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by the way, everyone leveled up at the start of episode 3. Okay, let's go.
Kind of worked out
but
that
what
way,
does it mean?
Yeah, we got like some really cool, you know, moments to talk about what you guys had chosen and, you know, what it meant for your character, you know, how it was tied into your character's current, you know, path and everything. It was really neat. I liked it.
It's state of mind, redemption for Sherman, and Timothy Biscuit wanting to become more brave.
Yeah, thank you for another wonderful game. This was a good one. I literally can't wait to record the next episode.
Oh, I am
so fun,
excited and eager. And trust me, I'm gonna be writing down anything that I say is in the handbook.
That's a great idea.
To try to keep track of them.
I love how you compared it to the Bard the Bard handbook to the PAL pamphlet or something like that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because Foster has a handbook, but PAL has a pamphlet because that's kind of like the more all-encompassing thing where it's like, oh, you can pass out a pamphlet to someone on the street, but if you're recruiting someone into a militant organization, you're gonna give them a handbook.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like you were talking about music soothes the savage beast being maybe something that the bards would teach you, but not in PAL. Or something like that. That was great. All right, guys. Well, that was an awesome episode. I enjoyed it very much myself. I'm glad you guys did as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're going to have to call that bird who's been playing over there in the corner back over to wrap us out.
Oh, I feel so rested.
Yeah, me too. Hey, Timothy.
Oh, yes, coming. Sorry, the the sound is really weird over here because there's a giant Cerberus kind of blocking the whole stage. I'll be right over.
Oh, is that what's messing up the acoustics in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it still on fire?
I think so.
Somebody should probably put that out.
It's very interesting. Thank you so much for listening to our Song of Rest. If you like the adventures your ears just wit on, feel free to listen in on our other adventures from any plane of existence or seeing stone you get your podcasts. Until we meet again, safe journeys, travelers.
What's up, BB Army? Thank you all so much for listening to today's episode of Break, Battle, and Roll. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed making it. If you can't get enough of Break, Battle, and Roll, be sure to follow our Instagram and Twitter, both at Break, Battle, Roll, or swing by and like the Break, Battle, and Roll Facebook page, where you can mingle with us and other members of the BB Army in between episodes. If you want to keep up with our cast, you can find Chad Stafford on his Instagram and Twitter at It's Chit Chad, as well as his YouTube pages, Chit Chad and Chit Chad Plays. Aaron Rollins on Twitter is at AARKUMA, that's Arkuma. Janelle Wilkie on Instagram at Janelle.Wilkie, that's JANELLE.WILKE. And me, Dustin. Catch me on twitch.tv/thefinaldestination, Instagram and TikTok as at @the_final_destination, and on Twitter at FINL_destination, because Twitter likes short names. We'd like to give a special thank you to our musicians Ben Holland for creating our absolutely shredding theme song. You can find Ben on SoundCloud, and Rory O'Neill for his phenomenal background compositions. You can find Rory as at Trench Roar Fair on Twitter. Gotta love that pun. We'd also like to give a shout out to what we would call our sister podcast, the Roaring D20s podcast. Follow them on Instagram and Twitter at RD20s podcast. That's RD, the number 2, the number 0, S podcast. Lastly, if you want to support the show, the best way you can help us right now is to spread the word. Do you have a friend who likes D&D or is way into podcasts? Send them our way. On top of that, the great Googly Moogly has told us that ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts will help share our adventures with more listeners. Again, thank you all so much for listening. Now, where was that delicious fish smell coming from? Uh-oh. Later, BB Army. I've got to get Sherman before he gets into Flowerkraut's mortar and pestle bag again. We will see you all in the next episode.